Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So I've got some phones laid out here, and the title of this video says hardware battle. Now, right now to me, these are the top of the line phones I have for hardware. Now you remember a while back I said that the Moto Z was my top of the line phone for hardware, beating out everything, right? Well, all that happened was the MotoZPlay came along and took its place. So I have these sitting here, and I got to tell you, when you're picking a phone, if you're doing it on hardware, there's a lot of things that come into play when you pick a phone. But the first thing that you see when you see a phone is the way it looks. You don't look at, ooh, look at that, the way that the buttons press on there, or the software. You walk up and say, ooh, that's nice. So this video is to focus on hardware, Axon 7 versus Alcatel Idol 4S versus MotoZPlay, the hardware battle. So, kind of digging right in, we won't start with looks first. Let's start with not so much techy, but physical things about the phone. So, the one I like the least, as far as to where the button placement is this phone right here. The Idol 4S has the weirdest, I mean, it is the strangest button placement on any phone I have right now. Now let me explain. Now this isn't to say that the phone is bad. All of these phones are great in their own way. But the power button is way up here on the left. The volume rockers are way on the other side on the left, or excuse me, on the right. And then they have a special key, the boom key. Now, this button placement, now obviously, you know, I prefer the rear mounted fingerprint reader. I think that's boss, but it's not the fastest fingerprint reader, but it is there. So the button placement on here is just weird. But one plus that this phone has, you can use it in any orientation. You know, there's a microphone on top and bottom, it's got a speaker on top and bottom, and it has speakers coming out of the back. But that's not that impressive to make me like it over the Axon 7. Because button placement is important. Yeah, I have a fingerprint reader on the back, but what if I, you know, can't get to the fingerprint reader or something's wrong? I have to press the power button. It's up on the left. It's kind of weird. Just that button placement is really weird. But it does have the fingerprint reader on the back, which is something that I love. Now let's go to the Axon 7. This is how button placement should be. You got everything on one side. You got volume up here, power button here, then you got your fingerprint reader over here. This is great. Now, this is the ultimate setup for me, I guess. I think it's the ultimate setup. Fingerprint reader on the back. Beautiful design. You know, it's a fast fingerprint reader. I think it's powered off. Oh, there you go. Fingerprint reader on the center of the phone in the back, which this does have. But all the buttons are over here, so that's a plus. Now, let's get down to the phone that I like here. This phone has a fingerprint reader on the front. It has a fingerprint reader on the front. But it has the button placement correctly over here. This has a textured power button, which is just, it's so great. Volume rocker is a little high. I wish they would have put the volume rockers down here, because this isn't by far a small phone at all. But volume rockers should have been over here. So as far as button placement goes, the Axon 7 has just the perfect button placement for me. Now, let's get to charging technology. So they all have some kind of rapid charger or something like that. But here's a huge fail. All of these have something probably that's a dislike at one point or another, but one is going to come out on top. So once again, let's start with the Idol 4S. The Idol 4S has a charging port kind of to the side, which is fine. But it's got the headphone jack on the top up here, which, remember again, it could be reversed. No problem. Just that it has the headphone top and the charging cable spot on the bottom side there, but it doesn't have USB Type-C. And for the life of me, I don't know why they put together this great package and did not include USB Type-C. I do not understand that. I don't get it. Now, let's go to the Axon 7. The Axon 7 has the USB Type-C. That's a huge plus. It does have it. But it has the headphone jack on the top. Now, this doesn't have a reversible. Even though it has two speakers, it doesn't have the reversible. It has the headphone jack on the top. Wow, come on. Put it on the bottom. That's a drawback. Now, this phone has both. It has USB Type-C and it has a headphone jack on the bottom. This is what I like about this phone for that reason. It has a great feature, which is USB Type-C, and then it has a headphone jack, and it's positioned on the bottom. Perfect. Good job, Motorola. Yes. Now, moving on to more hardware. The screens. Now, the screens on these are all pretty good. Let me turn this off. It's going to annoy me. Screens on here are all pretty good. This might shock you a little bit. Now, which phone has a display that's not so much the best? So let me go in here. All right, guys. So I got the same picture loaded up here. Now, this is a Quad HD display. This is a Quad HD display. This is a Super AMOLED 1080p display in the middle. Now, these are all 5.5 inch displays, and they both look stellar. I mean, they all look stellar. If you could sit here next to me and look at all these, now everybody's going to have their own opinion or preference. Some people don't like AMOLED displays. They prefer, IPS. I like AMOLED. So all of these phones are going to have that punchy, they're going to have some good color to them. So, but this is a Quad HD display, and this is a Super AMOLED display. Now, when I look at both of these, now this picture came from a completely different phone. I think it came from an iPhone or something like that. So it didn't come from any of these phones. When I look at these phones, these pictures, I'm gonna have to drop these things into folders so you can, or just move them out of the way. Actually, you know what? Let me just go over. All right, here we go. I'll move something way out of the way here so you can see just the photo. Now, when you look at these photos, this Super AMOLED display on the left against this, what kind of display is this? Let's look it up real quick because I don't want to give you the wrong information. Let's go to it. Let's go down to, let's search for Idle 4S. There it is. So let's tell you what kind of display this is. This is an AMOLED display, just like I thought. But this is a Super AMOLED display. This is a Quad HD AMOLED display. And this is a Super AMOLED 1080p display. Now, you look at these and you tell me if you can see the difference. You can, right? You can. To me, this Super AMOLED display looks better than this Quad HD AMOLED display. Now look here. Look at this one. Once again, this 1080p Super AMOLED display looks better than this Quad HD display. All of these phones are great. But, man, this screen on the MotoZPlay is a Super AMOLED 1080p display, and it looks fantastic. Look at these angles, the way the phone is sitting at right now. And you take a look. And this one looks a little punchier on camera at this angle. I will give it that. The Axon does look a little bit more punchy and vibrant at this particular angle. But let me move this over here. There you go. So you get them side by side. Oh, that's just my lighting. That's what it is. But man, guys, the screen on this phone right here is saying something. And the OnePlus 3 has a fantastic, you probably wonder where the OnePlus, it's not here, so I can't put it in the video. But it couldn't touch this one anyway, I think, though. This screen on this phone is stellar. It is that good. Now, let's talk about hardware. So I'm going to grab, or cameras, sorry. So I got my buddies here, right here. I'm going to take a photo with all of these right now. Let's start with this one. I'm going to put it right here so I can get a good Let's see. I might need to put them over here because I'm facing the light. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now, HDR is on. I'm going to tell you that. So there's one. Let me make sure HDR is turned on for this one. This is going to turn it on. Let's go. There we go, HDR. Now, let me make sure I turn off so I can get the rotation going. Rotate. All right, there's another. Now, let's go with the MotoZPlay. And HDR is on auto, so I'm going to turn it on. I just turned it on. It was on auto. So, take a look at this. Now, let's turn the rotation on so you can get it. I got my buddies out here. I'm going to show you these side by side, or right on top. Now, here's these two. Take a look at that. I'll take a look at it next to the ZTE. Now, of these two, I'm not gonna lie, the Idol 4S is better. Something about ZTE's camera on the Axon 7, it just doesn't, it's not up to par with some other cameras for some reason. It's just really not. It's not. It's not a bad camera by a long shot, but when I start putting it next to other cameras, it's kind of like, whoa. So here's this one. Now here's this one. Now, next to this one, it gets even better. You see what I mean? The camera on the Moto Z, killer camera. I mean, look at the legs on the yellow one, the guy with the yellow on. Look at the legs. Look at the legs on here. They almost look a little blurry. I don't know how well this is going to come across on camera, but there's more detail from the Motorola camera is what it is. So, you know, and all these phones cost the same price at the moment. Now, this is an exclusive, obviously. The Motorola is an exclusive. You'll be able to buy it for $450 at the end of this month. But I covered screen, camera, button placement, build quality. Speaker quality would be unfair if I put the Moto mod on. So I'll leave as is, and we'll give the speaker quality to the Axon 7 for sure, because I've already battled these, but I haven't battled these or these. So the Axon 7 definitely wins in the speaker quality. But even front camera on all of these, the MotoZPlay is better, guys. I don't know, you know, when I first picked up the Moto Z, that was my original purchase, I was floored, man. I was like, oh my gosh, this cannot be this good. But it is. This is a stellar piece of hardware. Overall, I guess I should give you an overall. Overall hardware, and I said the Moto Z when I had it was my best hardware, and I got to keep the trend going. Well, not the trend, but the facts, I guess I should say. This is beautiful hardware. It's better than this hardware. Reason is better than, now you might say, Jay, both of those have glass. I thought you said you preferred metal. I do prefer metal over glass. But here, check this out. Where's it at? Done. This hardware, without that Moto mod, is just stellar. It is great. I mean, there is not a lot of phones out there that I could possibly say, oh, this is great. Now, I've been touching these, and here at a certain angle, you probably can't see all the fingerprints on here, but that might annoy some people, but you can't see them on here at all. You can see the fingerprints on here when I tilt at the right angle. There's fingerprints everywhere, but this white, if this was white, it would probably be the same thing, but something about this white and gold, this setup is just beautiful. And I will be honest here, the Axon just looks dated compared to this phone for some reason. It just looks, maybe it's the color of the gold, but this phone is just a beautiful piece of hardware. So I covered camera, screen, physical hardware, button layout, Speaker quality definitely goes to the Axon of all these phones, but the overall better phone for hardware goes to the Moto Z. Goes to the Moto Z. So thanks for sticking around in this video, guys. Motorola has put in work. They are doing it big. This MotoZPlay is, I want to say, a baby brother to the Moto Z Force. I can't say that because everybody who has the Moto Z Force that I know of has complained about, those bubbles are from my tempered glass, I had to take it off, has complained about the shatter shield actually scratching. So I have a tempered glass on mine, and I'm cool with that. And I get a big battery. I still get Moto mods. And if you think about hardware, when you start to play into that, Moto mods is killing the game. I mean, I can snap on a battery pack with this one. I can't do that with these. I had to buy a battery case. You see how quickly I just changed the look of the phone by just snapping on this Moto mods. People say, does Moto mods fall off? Heck no, they don't fall off. See how hard it is to get it on and off. I can snap this on. Camera bump is gone too. I can also put a case on here and the camera bump is gone. And same thing here. But this phone still looks more beautiful than these two phones. Period. Hands down. This is a beautiful piece of hardware. All right, guys. I'm done. It's your man, Jay Will. MotoZPlay is king of the hardware. Picking up right where the Moto Z left off. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.